Welcome to LaughNapkin. Today I have 3 stories for episode 7 of r/Idontworkherelady. So hit that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and let's get into it. You arrest a shoplifter and you want me to do what? This took place back when I was a new security guard, so the details are a little vague. But this was about 15 years ago at everyone's favorite hellhole, Walmart. Not sure if this belongs here or in Tales from Security, but an old coworker bought this up and said I should post this here. Okay, the backstory. I had gotten a job as a contracted security guard, rent-a-cop. Basically, my job was to provide temporary security when a client needed something, say for an event or a beacon. The contracts were often only for a few weeks, a few only for a day or two. This one had been ongoing for almost 2 months when I arrived to replace the guard who had quit. Now this took place when the Walmarts in my city had gone 24 hours, and this one had been renovating, which is why I was here. A lot of the staff were stressed from the renovations and trying to stock shelves with customers in the way. My job was to monitor the back door into the building and allow contractors, only the contractors, access and ensure no one walked in and helped themselves because this was the main stockroom. These were 12-hour shifts, and due to a shortage of guards from a flood, I only got a 30-minute break and I had to call one of our mobile guards to cover. Thankfully, there was a McDonald's in the Walmart, something I only went to on occasion, but they were okay with me eating in there. Also, I was told to keep my phone on me in case of emergencies. I was also told that under no circumstances was I to do the job of loss prevention in the store, as I was not trained to do it and didn't work for Walmart. Anyways, most of the night managers were pretty chill when it came to me being there, but there was this one, we'll call her Karen. Yep, hair and all. Hated the fact that all I did for 12 hours between 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. was sit by a door and read or study. I was due to take the provincial security guard test within the month, and she would frequently try to bully me into doing stuff that was not my job, like sweep the floors in the stockroom or help load pallets for the staff to restock shelves. This led to more than one call from my supervisor to hers reminding them what was laid out in my contract. Also, if I did help out and got hurt, workers' compensation would not cover it because I was doing work outside my duties. After the 3rd or 4th time this happened, she upped her game, even began to pester me while I was on break trying to say that I was taking too long, even though I only took 30 minutes. One thing I should point out is that I have hypoglycemia, so I would often buy a few things to snack on during the shift to keep my blood sugar stable. Mostly fruit, juice, water, and nuts that I kept in a small cooler under my chair. She tried to tell me that I would not be allowed to bring this and that I was lying about my blood sugar condition to be a lazy pig. There was even one occasion when I grabbed some stuff there and went to pay and she ordered the cashier to close out as I got to the till. And I was nearly late to my location because I had to get in line somewhere else. Needless to say, I started grabbing stuff on the way in instead of there. She also tried to sneak in through the stockroom door, because she parked her car in the back there and got pissed when I wouldn't let her, as this area was a construction zone and you needed PPE to pass, and would frequently tell me that a woman has no place in this kind of work, and the only reason you took this job was to meet men. I started to document everything and gave copies to my supervisor when I got my shifts for each week. Sorry about the long intro, just painting a picture about how this woman was acting. All petty stuff. But after 5 weeks of this, anyone would reach a breaking point. Well, near the end of my 5th week, I'm at the McDonald's and decided to treat myself to some fries when Karen came stopping up, and I rolled my eyes thinking, what now? She glares at the tray in my hands and then back at me and said, I need you to come with me now. Little worried, I asked what was wrong and she points to a teenage girl, maybe about 16. We'll call her Liz. Crying her eyes out. I just caught a shoplifter and I need you to hold it for the police. I was a little stunned that she would ask this and said, sorry, but I can't do that. You have to get your own LPO to handle that. I should point out the reason we don't do this. That is, if this was a wrongful arrest and went to court, I and the company I work for would be liable as well. She smirked at me and said, "Oh, I sent them home. Don't think we need them here if you're here. Why should we pay for more security than we need?" I was floored. I honestly felt my brain come to a screeching halt on this. Then my phone started to ring, so I put my tray down to answer it. It was the mobile guards, who had to cut my break short to deal with an alarm call nearby. I told him what was going on up front, and after a long pause and some creative swearing, he told me he would call the night supervisor. As I put my phone away, I see Karen grab my tray and upend it in the trash. She glares at me and says, "Now get your lazy fat ass up to the LPO office and start the damn paperwork." I've had enough at this point, and the cashier at the McDonald's had seen what happened and flagged me over to hand me a fresh order of fries in a takeout bag. She even tossed in a couple of kid-sized cheeseburgers. I tell Karen to do it yourself, it's not my job, and leave. She follows me, dragging Liz with her and yelling about incompetence and how she will have me fired. But she didn't follow me into the construction area. She didn't want to get her fancy shoes dirty. About 20 minutes later, my mobile supervisor showed up with another guard to cover my spot, and I thought, crap, I'm totally gonna get canned. He tells me to head to the office behind the customer service desk. When I get there, there's Karen, Liz, 2 cops, the general manager for this location, one of the LPOs, and my boss, the owner of the company. By this time, it was nearly 4 a.m., so if he decided to make a site visit himself, then crap was gonna hit the fan. He asked me to tell him what had happened, and before I could get a word out, Karen starts ranting that I was lazy, incompetent, and all I did was eat and sleep on the job and took long calls on my phone. And she even tried to claim that I brought in a laptop and was playing computer games instead of doing my job. I've never even owned a laptop. My boss listens and then turns to me and asks what happened. So I explain it, and even told him that the cashiers in the McDonald's witnessed it. The LPO also confirmed that Karen had told his shift that they weren't needed that night and had canceled the shifts for them for the rest of the week. The general manager was furious and turned on Karen so fast I thought she was gonna snap her neck. Also, my boss brought out a stack of papers and handed it to the general manager. Photocopies of the report I had made on this woman's harassment. I had also had the guards that did the job on my days off to do the same. Learned fast in this type of work to document everything. You could have heard a pin drop when the general manager looked up from the first 3 pages and said that she had heard enough. The cops left. Apparently, Karen tried to claim that I was helping Liz steal stuff and was trying to get me arrested too. The other guards covered the rest of my shift, and my boss told me to come and see him after my weekend, which started that morning. Found out later that Liz didn't actually steal anything, and that Karen thought a bottle of Coke she was drinking came out of the cooler, but Liz had bought it from the vending machines outside. Also, Karen had been let go for breaking company guideline. She wasn't supposed to be able to cancel the LPO shifts, and harassment of me and other contract guards, and theft for tossing my lunch in the trash. Worked at that location for another month after that, and not a single issue for the remainder of my time there. Sorry this was so long. This was my first encounter with this type of event while working this job, which I did for 5 years. Really enjoyed it for the most part, but ended up getting hired on by a security crew of a contract that I worked for close to a year. If you made it this far, thanks for reading. Karen accuses us of favoritism for an employee that isn't ours. This is more of an I don't work here lady I witnessed/intervened in. I used to work at a grocery store deli. I hated it. Midday one Saturday, it's absolutely mobbed. We're short-staffed and the line was overwhelming, so I'm doing my best to stay calm and focused. It doesn't help that I'm 5 foot tall and the counter is 4.5 feet tall and literally have to wave to some customers for them to see I'm there. Important. As I mentioned, there is a line, but a blonde Karen and her 2 offspring disregard it entirely. Instead, the 3 of them are doing their damnedest to interrupt every customer we beckon to the counter. Her son attempts to commandeer the order I'm currently taking, but I tell him to wait his turn. He steps behind the current customer impatiently. Meanwhile, Karen comes storming over to her son and says, "Oh, they'll help their own employees before they help me?" I look over at the hot case and see my coworker helping a lady in a red smock. The store uniform is red polos, and I recognize the customer as a clerk in the shopping mall's thrift store. "Actually," I pipe up, my customer service cadence frayed and snippy. "She doesn't work here, she works at the Christian thrift store across the parking lot. She was waiting before you." Karen jumps back and glares at me. Her son knew I was there, but she obviously didn't. I'm sick of them buzzing around, so I ask her what she wants. She doesn't say anything and storms off, hiding her shame with self-righteous anger in true Karen form. Later, the manager texts me to say she had complained. Joke's on her. I was dating the manager, so we only laughed about it. He also let me get away with throwing a corn dog at a guy in a Michael Vick jersey. Bless him. If they had a Reddit for wholesome "I don't work here lady" moments, I think this one would fall into that. So enjoy. I don't work here lady, but I'll teach you about the joy of painting. I'll keep it pretty short, but I have some good memories from my favorite local fine art supply store. Besides working digitally on my tablet monitor, I still occasionally work with ink and watercolor. I don't usually take commissions for traditional art since it can be more costly with shipping, supplies, etc., so I don't get out to the shop downtown often. I ran out of some shellac inks and needed to restock illustration board for Inktober, which merited a trip. I also had a good friend of mine, now roommate, visiting from the other side of the country. We both enjoy the arts and decided to go together. It's a smaller shop and there's no formal uniform, just a name tag that staff wears. Most of their staff are younger since there are 3 colleges close by. I'm in my late 20s with a young face, went to the university for art, and generally know my stuff, so I'm a big "I don't work here lady" target there. I also know the store well, so I don't mind pointing things out. Both of us are in the store down one of their drawing media aisles, and I'm explaining a few of my media choices to my friend. She's still learning, so she asks me a lot of questions. We've fallen into a rhythm with it. She went to go look at some Prismacolor pencils, and a sweet older lady timidly shuffles up to me. She quietly asks if the paints she has are good for beginners. I take a look at the paints, and they're all pricey, professional quality oil paints. I didn't see any mineral spirits or terpenoid on her either. I asked her a few questions about what subjects she's interested in, if she's worked with oil paints before, etc. She's brand new to all of it and hasn't done much since she was a kid, but she wants to learn how to paint landscapes. It's one of her bucket list items. We spent the next half hour or so going through the store. She got a set of student acrylic paints with a good pigment base, not cheap feeling, that are much easier to work with when starting out. She learned that canvas pads were a thing, and I helped her pick out some brushes and a palette. I also let her know that there were plenty of Bob Ross episodes online and helped her add the link to her home screen on her phone. I haven't had much luck with finding a decent job as an art teacher since university and don't work in a creative field while I'm going back to school for architecture. But being able to share art with another person like this is very rewarding. I've seen her one more time since then in the store. She got some more paint and we stopped to chat for a bit. I don't know if she knows I don't work there or not, but that's okay. My friend and I got a good chuckle out of it, and she didn't mind me being gone to help out. It still happens and we both smile at it. Never had a bad time at the art supply store yet. Not sure if that sweet old lady is on Reddit, but if so, I hope your paintings make you as happy as teaching you made me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed making it. Don't forget to join my Discord if you want to submit your own story or just be part of the LaughNapkin community. And please, consider subscribing as it helps me out big time.